Good morning and thank you for joining me this morning for our daily devotional. Today we're looking at the story of Deborah. It can be found in Judges chapters 4 and 5. Deborah is an inspirational character in the Bible. She's an outstanding woman of history. Deborah was the fourth and only female judge of Israel. She was a prophetess, a mediator, advisor, counsellor, just to name a few. She was called to be extraordinary and to make a difference. Do you remember what it was like when you were a very young child, the night before your birthday? You knew from past experience that you'd get presents, but it would still be a surprise come the next morning. Birthdays combine assurance and anticipation, just like faith. It says in Hebrews 11 verse 1, "Now faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see." Two words, sure and certain, sum up my impression of Deborah. In Judges chapter 4, verses 6 and 7, it says, "She sent for Barak, son of Abinoam, from Kadesh in Naphtali, and said to him, 'The Lord, the God of Israel, commands you, go take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun, and lead the way to Mount Tabor. I will lure Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his troops, to the Kishon River, and give him into your hands.'" Deborah was a strong and wise leader. She'd been given the duty of judge by God at a time when her nation was in turmoil. Society had broken down. Sound familiar? God didn't call her to an easy task. She was called to become extraordinary and to make a difference. Deborah knew her place in God's world and was obedient to his will. She wasn't power hungry. She wanted to serve God. And when praise came her way, she gave God the credit. She had incredible faith. Through her wise leadership, she inspired a leader, a general, rallied the troops, and set a course of freedom for millions of people. Deborah shows us that God can accomplish great things through anybody, as long as they're willing to be led by him. Here are three things that I've learned from Deborah's story. Number 1, be obedient. If God is telling you to do something or go somewhere, despite your fears, listen to his call. He has plans that we cannot begin to understand, and hearts and lives may be changed by our obedience. Number 2, be courageous. The old saying, "God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called," applies here. Doing something out of your comfort zone to glorify him can be terrifying, but faith was never promised to be easy. Be bold, be courageous for his glory. Number 3, never waver in your faith. We may not always know what the road ahead will look like, but we only need to remember that God will faithfully guide us and lead the way. Remember that pre-birthday excitement? We should feel that when we have faith that God can use us for his glory. Be available to God. Spend your efforts on what you can do rather than worrying about what you can't. God can accomplish great things when he is in control. What is God's call on your life? It says in Isaiah 6, verse 8, "Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, 'Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?' And I said, 'Here am I, send me.'" Lord, I pray that you'll speak something of Deborah's story into the lives of those watching. I pray that when you call, their faith will make them sure and certain that you can and will accomplish great things. Amen.